Joining us now is OjyOkpe, with stories trending around the world.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. How are you?
Thank God it's Friday.
My favorite day of the week. It's actually my favorite day of the week. I literally have only one day off working. I work 6 days a week at Arise. Me and you, Dr. Abati, right?
No, I work every day of the
No,
week.
Arise News. I meant on Arise News. Just one day. So that's why Friday is my favorite day of the week.
I would like to take 3 days off.
Well, let's
come occasionally.
Let's start again. Good morning. We have 2 generals and a queen. Good morning to you. How are you? I miss you. Bosan Omofaye, the legend. Now you're on What's Trending. I'm so excited to have you here.
Yeah, you are trending.
Yeah.
I think TMS is trending.
As always.
Always trending.
Always trending.
Well, all right, let's go. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin What's Trending in Nigeria by taking reactions to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's directive to Vice President Kashim Shettima to lead Nigeria's delegation at the 79th United Nations General Assembly session taking place in New York. The President's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, made the announcement in a statement on X, stating that the President wants to focus on domestic issues and address some of the country's challenges, especially after the recent devastating flooding in parts of the country. Let me take Bayo Onanuga's tweet. President Tinubu, who returned to the country last Sunday after his trip to China and the United Kingdom, wants to focus on domestic issues and address some of the country's challenges, especially after the recent devastating flooding at UNGA 79. Vice President Shettima will deliver Nigeria's national statement to the General Assembly, attend important sideline events, and hold bilateral meetings, the high-level general debate with the theme, Leaving No One Behind, acting together for the advancement of peace, sustainable development, and human dignity for the present and future generations, will run from Tuesday, September 24th through Saturday, September 28th, 2024. Ayomide, I know you called this. You did call this when the President visited the victims of the flooding in Borno State. Yeah. You did mention, you did say, why does he have to go to UNGA? And it is quite refreshing and quite reassuring to see that the President is listening. I mean, it is great optics for the President at this moment. Fantastic. I'll take this reaction from Emmanuel, who wrote, a most reasonable decision showing the President demonstrate he's not insensitive to the expectations of Nigerians at this moment in time. It would have been unfortunate if the President were to embark on another foreign tour so soon after his absence from seat of power for 3 weeks. I must say, Emmanuel's tweet is the rhetoric online, because we have seen a lot of people, actually because of that statement he made to the monarch, when he said, even if it was for 5 minutes, I'll stop by and meet with you. But it is good optics. But, you know, Onanuga said that it's because of, the domestic issues, and one of them he highlighted is the flooding. On Thursday, the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency announced that water from the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon has been released into River Niger and River Benue in Nigeria's north-central. The agency warned Nigerians residing in floodplains to relocate immediately to safe spaces in anticipation of attendant floods that annually come with the release of the water from Lagdo Dam. Well, here is an amateur video showing the moment the dam was released in River Benue. All right. Reoccurring issue in Nigeria. Let me just quickly take a list of these states, that the flood-prone states. There's Adamawa, Taraba, Benue, Nasarawa, Kogi, Edo, Delta, Anambra, Bayelsa, and Cross River and River State. These states should be really careful at this moment. Ayo, a quick point about the President cancelling his trip and this whole incident with the Lagdo Dam.
I think this would go up as one of the most symbolic moves by the President since he came into office. The fact that he demonstrated by this action that he listens to the people. When he went to Borno State and he said he had taken a stop there to proceed to the United States of America, Nigerians are up in arms that with what is currently facing us as a nation, why is your priority going abroad and attending these meetings? They are important, they are very important, but the suggestion was that you can say we have a Minister of Foreign Affairs, we have a deputy, we have a vice president, we have people who can go in his stead. And instead of being distracted by these meetings, let him be home and face the issues. In fact, Dr. Bati, this Tuesday wrote, now that Tinubu is back, and I was going to say, oh boy, he's not back for very long, but thankfully he's now back for very long. And now some of those things he pointed out in that article can actually be addressed. One, of course, was the Maiduguri flooding, talk about fuel scarcity and energy security in Nigeria. The end hunger protest hasn't yet been addressed by the president, especially for people who are still hungry. And now that we've seen an increase in fuel prices while he was away, we see that even the new national minimum wage that hasn't been implemented in many states has been eroded. The gains from that has been eroded. So what we now want to see as a next step is now that he's not going to UNGA, let him now begin to address these issues one after the other. Nigerians like the optics, but beyond the optics, let him show working.
Yes.
Let us actually see, let him address the workers' salaries and ensure that at least mobilize this, the governments, let them pay these salaries. Absolutely. Then number two, energy security. He needs to look into what's this back and forth between NNPCL and Dangote Refinery as the Minister of Petroleum. Then he needs to address hunger issues. These little tons here spread out there is not enough for Nigerians. But I mean, just to say, well done. Now let's see next steps.
Well, let's just hope it's not just optics. But it appears that it's not just optics because the president has already started working. In the meantime, Coca-Cola bottling company on Thursday promised to invest $1 billion in Nigeria over the next 5 years. The investment commitment was made when Coca-Cola's global leadership team met with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the State House in Abuja. President Tinubu commended Coca-Cola for its long-standing partnership with Nigeria and for employing over 3,000 people across 9 production facilities. Tinubu stated that the investment highlights his administration's commitment to creating a robust financial system and a business-friendly economy. But you know, a lot of Nigerians had actually questioned this move because back in 2021, I believe that, you know, Coca-Cola actually made the same sort of promise. And Bayo Onanuga clarified the reasons behind Coca-Cola's withdrawal of its 5-year, $1 billion investment pledge in Nigeria, which was made in 2021. Bayo Onanuga wrote, yes, the company made a similar promise 3 years ago, but it couldn't fulfill it because of the challenging business environment prevailing in Nigeria then. As the company's spokesperson said, while the company made the commitment in 2021, it was also hit by excise taxes. Our investment pledges are always predicated on predictable and stable environment. The $1 billion pledge has now been renewed based on the stable environment, which has been promised through the Tinubu government Economic Stabilization Plan. Dr. Bati, I'll go to Bosan Omofaye for his comment on whether or not, you know, our economy is stabilized as...
War was going on, and I was just reading through this morning. And I got the press release directly from Coca-Cola.
Yes.
It's about 12 paragraphs. But I'm just going to say what was in the third line in the first paragraph of that press statement. And what Coca-Cola wrote through is International Press Distribution Agency. So over the next 5 years, with a predictable and enabling environment in place, Coca-Cola plans to accelerate its investment in Nigeria to reach $1 billion. So the same enabling environment that Bayo Onanuga said prevented Coca-Cola in 2021 from making the same investment is the same clause that Coca-Cola is also reinserting in the same statement made at the Villa yesterday. In other words, because Coca-Cola will not just put money in Nigeria because it is called Federal Republic of Nigeria. By the way, between 2021 and date, Coca-Cola has made investments in other African countries. For South Africa, for example, while we were just dilly-dallying in terms of how to use good governance to fix our economic environment. So Coca-Cola will do this average $200 million per year over 5 years if we have predictable and enabling environment in place. So the caveat is there. Coca-Cola has said it itself. So it does not matter. Are we having improved business environment? Yeah, we're seeing reforms and policies in place. Will Coca-Cola just do it because we have a new administration in place? I don't think so. It's not a Father Christmas, and even though they have a great grand Christmas, the celebration around the world, by the way.
Yeah.
But of course, that's said, over the next 5 years, with a predictable and enabling environment, we'll be able to sustain and improve on the current policies to make this $1 billion comes in, so that we don't have what happened in 2021 over the next few years, so that we have a new administration or whoever's still in office in the next 5 years, and a similar pledge is still made. Your $1 billion is there, it's waiting. When you guys get yourself right and you get your acts together, please come take, please come take the check. That's what this statement really means.
I love that you were able to highlight that fact.
$1 billion is there. When you guys are ready and you fix your house, the money is there.
So predictable and enabling environment. It's not free. I mean,
it's in line 3. It's in line 3 of the first paragraph.
Reason why Coca-Cola withdrew their pledge in 2021 is the same clause that they have put in here. So if we have talking about enabling environment, I'd love for you to tie everything together. In another development, former President Olusegun Obasanjo on Thursday narrated how former military head of state, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, almost denied Nigeria a $280 million telecommunications deal. Obasanjo made the comments at the launch of a book titled The Catalyst, Nigerian ICT Evolution Through a Journalist's Lens. Let's take a look.
3 that came in first, I think they paid $280 million for the line. $280 million for what was about to be given away for $3 million. That was the first thing. But not only that, we achieved competition. The 3 of them were competing for what Nigeria had done in the good days when things were going well, are still there and can still be done today, only if we put ourselves and we are honest to ourselves. We show the character and the attribute, and we show the understanding and the knowledge that we need to show to make this country a great country that God has created it to be.
All right, Dr. Abate, I'd love for you to tie all the stories together. I mean, this is Obasanjo. They're saying that, Nigeria almost lost $280 million at that time.
Let me start with President Obasanjo's statement. He was speaking at an event, the Catalyst, the launch of the Catalyst by Bayo Onanuga, former journalist with the Punch newspaper. And essentially, President Obasanjo was talking about how you can catalyze this economy.
Absolutely.
I think my major takeaway from his presentation at that event is that, look, Nigeria can recreate what was achieved in former times, in the olden days. He talked about values of character, honesty, understanding, and knowledge.
Absolutely.
And that these are values, attributes that seem to be lacking at this present moment. If Nigeria could reinvent those values, he thinks that Nigeria can move forward. Now, he then talked about creating a conducive environment for business. That once government creates a conducive environment for business, things will move.
That's it.
Which is the point you were making about the Coca-Cola story. That, look, if there's an enabling environment, they have a body called PEBEC, led by Oduwole, So that if you do it, if you achieve the objectives, this country can function.
Absolutely.
I think in that regard, President Obasanjo was being nostalgic. And he cited the example of the telecom revolution of 2001. Once upon a time in this country, having access to telephony was a status thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I remember my first was a Nokia.
Yeah. No. Turaya.
Turaya.
Were you here at the time of Turaya?
Nokia.
Yes. Only a few people were using Turaya, and it was a status thing. But under President Obasanjo, he democratized access to telecom.
Yeah.
And the democratization of telecommunication changed our lives. If you wanted to call anybody in London or New York in those days, you would go and queue at Nitel. Yeah. Very long queue. And it was a difficult thing. So he's saying that, look, at a point in this country, under his watch, there was a catalyst, telecom. These days now, I once wrote a piece that how did we live when we did not have cell phones? Many people now do not know how we lived when there were no phones. So the thing is, you know, he was giving a message of hope, a message of possibility, although he said, well, the Abdul Salami administration wanted to sell the licenses to MTN. I think at that time it was MTN, Econet, Airtel for $3 million. But when he came in, you know, he was able to get Nigeria $280 million. And since then, we've witnessed a lot of developments. Congratulations to Oketola on the publication of his book. But, you know, President Obasanjo is just telling us, look, we were once at this spot.
Yes.
Can we reinvent and improve upon the situation? Because he says this country is a land of milk and honey, and we have the talents. Are we using the talents? Earlier on this program, I said we're using Division 2 people. I hope in Edo State tomorrow they will not use Division 2 people.
No Division 2 people.
As for the trip to UNGA,
yes.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, you know, on President Tinubu's part, to say the vice president should represent him. The vice president is a very cerebral person. One of those Nigerians that I know who reads. The vice president can be at an event, he will quote from Shakespeare to Socrates to Plato. So he's a very capable man. And I think President Tinubu should make more use of him. Now, President Tinubu saying he will stay at home, he went to France for 7 days or so. When he came back from France, he went to China. Then in between, he disappeared into an artificial Bermuda Triangle.
He was in London.
Then he showed up. Then he showed up in London. Then he came home.
Oh, there was
well, you know. So he should rest a bit because, as been pointed out, there are urgent issues to address. However, the national statement that Vice President Shettima is going to address, I hope they will not write a statement that just echoes the usual things, that copy and paste statements that they have been presenting at UNGA in the last 8 years of Nigerian somnambulism on the international scene. I hope they will address the basic issues, including the fact that Nigeria is seeking a permanent seat on the Security Council of the UN.
Well, like you said, Dr. Abati, the Vice President, is very intelligent. I hope he reviews the script and puts his input in there. It definitely is not a Division 2 person. No,
it's a Division 1 vice president.
Division 1 vice president.
It's a good one.
UNGA to face it. But I think President Tinubu did very well. Well, I hope he gets some rest and begin work right away. Let's turn our attention now to Edo State. As the people of the state gear up for the governorship election slated for tomorrow, the governor of Edo State, UNGA+Obaseki, has clarified his statement, maintaining that the election is a do-or-die affair because the people of Edo State will be doomed if the APC takes over the state. Let's take a look.
Edo people will make their decisions this time. It's a do-or-die because if they do, we die. If they do, we die. The level of impunity, the level of recklessness we see in the opposition party, if they take over Edo State, finish, that's the end.
I heard you. You said he's not Division 2 man either. But all right. I mean, we have seen that he's clarified this claim. I don't know if this is good enough, but earlier this week we did see the police in Edo State, the policemen in Edo State, like ruffling up this one man. And they actually came up with a statement after, I believe, we took it on What's Trending. And this is Olumuyiwa Adejobi, who, you know, posted the reason why the man was harassed by the policemen. He had written on Twitter that the policemen there were on official duty. They are IRT operatives who are investigating the killing of our policeman in the Benin airport in July. They have secured a warrant of his arrest. The men eventually left him when the place became rowdy. He's a murder suspect and he will still be arrested. I mean, I thought that this was scandalous when I saw this statement by the police person. And I said to myself, is this what happens in Nigeria? So this is how they leave murder suspects. I mean, we saw the video. It was the histrionics of the the woman that saved the day, they were all screaming. A quick comment before we take our final story here.
Spot on, Oji.
Yes.
It just reminds me of the EFCC case with Yahaya Bello, where you say that someone is wanted, and then people cry out, and then it's okay, you left him for the people. It doesn't make any sense. And that's why sometimes we begin to poke holes in this story that, okay, if that was the reason, I believe the police should have been adamant. If there's a murder suspect on the run, they ought to have been adamant in ensuring they put him in custody until he's able to answer some of his crimes. But he's innocent until proven guilty, and we are hopeful that it is not a target because it just coincidentally he's a PDP member as well. But a number of things have been said about that shooting at the airport that both the APC and the PDP have questions to answer.
They do.
So let it be fair. That's what Nigerians are asking for.
Well, I'm just praying for peace for tomorrow. We wish the Edo people good luck tomorrow, and I hope that, like you said, Dr. Abati, there won't be any ballot box snatching, and we'll come back here on Monday and discuss that.
Division 1 election.
We're hoping for a Division 1 election, absolutely. All right, then. We'll take our final story now. A crossover between sports and entertainment. Global football superstar Cristiano Ronaldo has featured the song Active by Nigerian artist Asake in his latest Instagram video. Ronaldo posted the video showing off his tennis skills on Wednesday. The video has racked up over 42 million views. Let's take a look. Afro beats to the world. I wanted to show this off because, you know, Ronaldo is the most famous man on what? Instagram? Yes, on social media. Fantastic. Afro beats to the world. I'd love to thank you all for your great analysis, as always, on What's Trending. I hope you all have a great weekend. Well, that's all I have for you guys on What's Trending today. I'll see you all tomorrow. Oh, next week.
She loves this job.
I forgot.
She loves this
no,
job.
Sunday. I'll be on Sunday.